I'm just finishing a training, 30 hours of training in guiding people choosing to use MDMA. Now, I want to say right off the front here, I am not endorsing this. I am not encouraging anybody to use an illegal substance. Okay. What I'm fascinated by is the research that's going on and the potential of this. And that is why I'm training in it, learning as much as I can to be prepared to help people that might be curious about this and interested in it, especially once it becomes FDA approved. So, anyway, the state of the research basically maps the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies is doing research aimed at FDA approval, which is very, it's got to be placebo controlled, double blind, all this stuff. It's very, very expensive. And they've been working on this for a long time. And they've gotten to phase 3 trials where you're working with real people and tracking this. And they are getting phenomenal results. Now, they chose to work with complex, really hard treatment resistant PTSD. So, with veterans and people with really severe trauma. So, the protocol, all the focus has been on PTSD, and in doing it the way they originally set this up, which was people are given the medicine. They lie quietly, blindfolded, listening to music. 2 therapists are there to interact if the person says anything and seeks some sort of interaction, but otherwise they're quiet. And they get 3 sessions of this, I think about a month apart. And what they have found is that like 2/3 of the people no longer have PTSD symptoms, would no longer qualify for the diagnosis. Really astounding, like twice as much as the placebo. And the FDA did not approve this last summer. I think they've done 2 rounds of this phase 3 trial with similar results, astounding results, but it is still not approved. So the FDA raised some concerns, not because there was actual adverse effects or anything, but they want more data about safety and they want people tracked longer for years rather than months, things like that. So it is still not approved. So MDMA remains a Schedule 1 substance, which means it's seen to have no therapeutic use, right? It's problematic, it's highly illegal. But the research is so promising. They're starting to do some research using MDMA and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, with couples. And this is what excites me so much. MDMA seems to work by, first of all, reversing the serotonin pump. So it floods your bloodstream with serotonin, dopamine. It releases oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone. So basically, it creates this openness and sense of connection with other people. At the same time, minimizing fear and defensiveness. So they think it maybe turns off to some degree the amygdala, the fear emotional response center in the brain, so that people don't have fear come up, don't have the same reactivity, defensiveness, blaming, that kind of stuff. And if you think about it, what a perfect blend for couples. More connected and open, and the fear and defensiveness gone. My hope is that this would allow couples to have totally different kinds of conversations and true breakthroughs. When I work with people in therapy, it's every week, every 2 weeks. It's intermittent, right? So we may have some really good conversation for 50 minutes once, but then I don't see them for 2 weeks. Life happens. They have more fights or conflict or distress or defensiveness, the stories that tell themselves. It's hard to get traction and breakthroughs, especially quickly, because so much is happening in between this stuff and we're not focused on the issues long enough to get a breakthrough. And we're not focused without the defenses and the blaming and the stories that we get attached to. So it can really be limiting. So I am so excited about the promise of something like MDMA-assisted therapy for couples specifically. And I'm thinking, holy cow, if you spent this intensive time for 4 or 5 hours and got into totally new territory and could take things in without all that defensiveness and say the things that needs to be said and come to some clarity about what your relationship needs. And then in the integration session, which is probably the most important part afterwards, a week later, to turn that into action and commitment and change, I'm just delighted at the idea of how impactful this could be. So I'm following the research. I have a website I put together, Heartweave for Couples, all about couples intensives in general and some of the ideas around using altered states to do that. And if this intrigues you, if you're interested, get in touch, check out the website, send me an email. I'm just going to be, keeping on this road until the day this gets FDA approved. And hoping, and actually in New Mexico too, hopefully we're on the verge of psilocybin being approved. Like, I'm just so excited about these brain altering substances, medicines that could create real breakthrough for people. So stay tuned and follow the research.